Ever feel like some people just have it?
Yeah.
That magic touch where success just seems to find them.
Oh, yeah.
You sent us Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret, and it turns out maybe there is a secret. Ready to take a deep dive into the power of thought to shape your reality.
Absolutely. It's amazing how a book and recording from 1956 still resonates today.
Right. Think about it. Over 1 million copies sold back when vinyl records were the main way people listened.
Wow.
That's some serious staying power for a self-help message.
Yeah.
For this deep dive, we're going to be your guides, pulling out the most relevant insights from Nightingale's work just for you.
Awesome.
So, The Strangest Secret is packed with these insights. Right from the get-go, Nightingale grabs your attention.
Okay.
With a pretty startling statistic. He claims that only 5% of people are actually financially successful by the age of 65.
5%.
5%. That feels incredibly low.
Yeah.
Does that statistic still hold up today? Or was Nightingale being a bit dramatic for his time?
Well, it's important to remember those numbers are from the 1950s.
Right.
So the economic landscape has definitely shifted.
Yeah.
But the underlying point is still incredibly relevant. Even today, with all the opportunities out there, so many people, they don't reach their full potential.
Yeah.
Or the financial freedom that they dream of.
So it sounds like Nightingale was onto something.
Yeah.
But he doesn't define success just in terms of money, right?
Exactly. He calls it the progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
The progressive realization of a worthy ideal.
That's interesting. I can see how that's a much broader definition, more fulfilling than just focusing on wealth.
Yeah.
But what does that actually look like in everyday life?
He uses examples like a school teacher
Okay.
who finds deep satisfaction in helping their students thrive, or a salesperson who genuinely believes in their product
Right.
and loves connecting with people.
Yeah.
For them, success isn't just about hitting a sales target, but about the joy they find in the process
Yeah.
and the relationships they build.
So it's about finding that thing that truly lights you up and then pursuing it with intention. But how do we actually do that? What's the secret here?
Well, the core of Nightingale's message is that we become what we think about.
We become what we think about.
And he hammers this home throughout the book,
Okay.
quoting everyone from Marcus Aurelius to William James, even drawing on biblical wisdom.
Okay, that sounds pretty powerful. But is it just some kind of mystical manifestation thing?
Not at all.
Okay.
Nightingale explains it in a very logical way.
Okay.
He says our beliefs directly influence our actions.
Oh, okay.
And those actions ultimately create our outcomes. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Where what we focus on expands.
It reminds me of that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. But it's interesting that Nightingale was talking about this back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Before all the research we have now on things like neuroplasticity and the power of the subconscious mind. Exactly. He was way ahead of his time.
Yeah.
In understanding how our thoughts literally create neural pathways in our brains. The more we dwell on certain thoughts, the more we reinforce those pathways, making them the default mode for our behavior. So those positive or negative thought patterns, they actually become ingrained in us over time.
To really drive this point home, he uses this really vivid analogy
Oh, yeah.
of a farmer planting seeds. Plant corn, you get corn. Plant nightshade, poisonous plant, well, you get poison.
It's such a simple but effective image, right?
It is.
It highlights how our minds are like fertile ground.
Right.
Whatever we plant in them, be it thoughts of success and abundance or fear and negativity, that's what will grow. But here's where it gets really interesting.
I'm all ears.
Nightingale points out this paradox. We often take our minds for granted. He calls it familiarity breeds contempt.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
It's like we undervalue the very thing that has the power to shape our entire reality.
I can see that. We spend so much time and energy taking care of our bodies, our finances, even our possessions.
Right.
But how much time do we dedicate to nurturing our minds?
Yeah.
Probably not enough.
Probably not.
But how do we change that? How do we stop taking our minds for granted and start cultivating them?
Well, that leads us to one of the most powerful images in the book. He describes this incredible earth-moving machine.
Earth-moving machine. Okay, I'm intrigued. What's this earth-moving machine all about?
It's a metaphor for our minds. He describes this massive machine, powerful, capable of incredible feats. But it's being operated by this tiny little figure.
I can already see where this is going. Our conscious will is the little figure, right?
Exactly. It's like this immense power is at our disposal. But So few of us actually take control and direct it towards something meaningful. We let the machine run on autopilot.
Wow.
Instead of consciously choosing the direction we want to go.
That's such a powerful image. I'm picturing myself at the controls of this massive machine, and it makes you realize the potential we all have. But honestly, it's also a bit intimidating. Where do we even begin?
That's where Nightingale's 30-day challenge comes in. He shifts from these big philosophical concepts to a very practical plan, actionable. It's the roadmap for actually taking control of that earth-moving machine and steering it towards your goals.
Okay, so tell me more about this challenge. What does it actually involve?
It starts with defining your goal, clearly. Nightingale emphasizes that it has to be something specific, something you can really visualize and work towards. Then comes the hard part, replacing negative thoughts with positive ones that align with that goal.
I can see how that would take some serious discipline. It's easy to slip back into those negative thought patterns, especially when things get tough.
Absolutely. Nightingale doesn't sugarcoat it. He stresses the importance of pushing past your comfort zone, taking action even when you're afraid, and being consistent even when you don't see results immediately. He understood that building new habits takes time and effort.
Makes me wonder if we can enhance Nightingale's challenge with some of the knowledge we have today.
Oh, interesting.
Things like understanding how our brains form habits, practicing mindfulness, or even figuring out what motivates us best. It feels like those insights could really amplify the effectiveness of the challenge for someone trying it today.
I completely agree. Nightingale was a pioneer. But the field of personal development has come a long way since the 1950s. We have a deeper understanding of the psychology of change, and we have tools and techniques that can really boost our chances of success.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts and hoping for the best. It's about being strategic, understanding the process, and being willing to put in the work.
Exactly. But here's another fascinating element Nightingale brings in: service. He talks about the law of mutual exchange. This idea that real success doesn't come from exploitation, but from serving others.
This ties back to his background in sales,
Yeah.
right? He wasn't just some armchair philosopher. He was out there in the real world applying these principles.
Precisely. He saw firsthand how the most successful salespeople were those who genuinely cared about their customers and focused on solving their problems. He argues that true prosperity comes from creating value and contributing to the well-being of others. It's not a zero-sum game.
And it's so interesting how this concept resonates even more strongly today. We see so many businesses, especially those led by younger generations, who are driven by purpose and a desire to make a positive impact on the world. It's about more than just the bottom line.
It's about creating win-win situations where everyone benefits. And speaking of valuable insights, Nightingale doesn't stop there. He packs the book with all sorts of practical advice, like the importance of saving 10% of your income, the power of reading inspirational books.
He even quotes a psychiatrist, David Harold Fink, who outlines 6 steps for achieving success.
Oh, wow.
Which I think are worth mentioning here. Fink says you need to, 1, form a clear, definite mental picture of what you want. 2, develop an unshakable faith that you will attain it. 3, back your plan with a burning desire for its fulfillment. 4, resolve to persist until you succeed. 5, cooperate with nature, working with and not against the universal laws. And 6, capitalize on the power of prayer.
It's like he's giving us this toolkit for not just dreaming big, but actually making those dreams a reality.
And what strikes me is that even though this book was written decades ago, the core principles still feel so relevant. It's about taking ownership of your life, setting clear goals, cultivating a positive mindset, and understanding that true success involves contributing to something bigger than yourself.
It's about realizing that you hold the power to shape your own future.
We've really unpacked a lot from The Strangest Secret. It's amazing how a book written back in 1956 can still feel so fresh today. From those eye-opening statistics about financial success to the idea that we become what we think about.
And that powerful earth-moving machine analogy.
Right, representing the potential of our minds. Plus, all those practical tips for taking control, like the 30-day challenge and focusing on service to others. There's so much here. What stands out to you as the most valuable takeaway for our listener, the one who sent us this book?
You know, for me, it's that reminder that we're not just passengers on this journey, this thing called life. We actually have the power to choose where we want to go.
I love that. It's so easy to feel like we're at the mercy of circumstances.
Oh, totally.
But Nightingale reminds us we have agency. We can choose what we focus on, what we believe, and how we act.
It's a real shift, isn't it?
It is.
From limitation to possibility.
And thinking back to that statistic, about only 5% of people achieving financial success by 65. What if that's not just about money? What if it's about people not realizing their full potential in any area of life?
That's such a good point. Maybe it is about people who haven't tapped into the power of their minds to shape their reality, who haven't consciously chosen where they want to go.
And that brings us back to the core of The Strangest Secret. It's not really a secret at all, is it?
Nope.
It's about making that choice, to take control, to cultivate our minds, and to direct our thoughts toward what we really want.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So for you, dear listener, as you reflect on The Strangest Secret, I have one question. What is one area of your life where you're ready to take the reins? What seed are you going to plant today?
Remember, you hold the power to create the future you want. The strangest secret is that it's not a secret at all. It's a choice.
And on that note, we encourage you to keep exploring Nightingale's work or any other resources that inspire you on your journey. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in your own incredible potential.